Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Blancpain 50 Fathoms, 40 millimeters in stainless steel. You can see and you can purchase this late 90s, early 2000s 50 Fathoms with 100-hour automatic power reserve on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this 40mm Blancpain 50 Fathoms. Now, it's hard to believe that there was a long period when there was no Blancpain 50 Fathoms. The brand revived during the 80s and revitalized under Swatch Group during the 90s with proper capitalization, was finally ready by 1998 to begin to reclaim its heritage and its most important model line, and thus the 50 Fathoms was reborn. Now, the watch on my wrist is that first flight of latter age 50 Fathoms. It's 40 millimeters across the round of the case, not the 45 of the later reference 5015. It's also wonderfully slim, only 13 millimeters thick. It does slide nicely under a dress cuff. Now I'm going to give you the lug-to-lug dimension of this watch, which is a rather compact 45.8, and then the X71 bracelet's solid end links extend the measurement to 49.6 millimeters across the wrist. Because of the pinholes, traditional dive watch style, it's very easy to quickly swap this one over to, for instance, a NATO style strap. And being smaller than the 5015, lighter, and with those pinholes, it's far easier both physically and ergonomically to pull off that swap. Now, the watch is very solid thanks to the X71 bracelet. You can see that it has an immense amount of substance to it. You can also see the interlink of the intermediate and primary links, such that the tolerances are fantastic and there's very little play in this one. Nevertheless, you also note on the underside, broad channels between the primary links allow the wrist to aerate on a hot day, as well as providing resistance to the pinching of skin and the pulling of hair. Ergonomically, the X71 is an absolute charm, and physically it's imposing, solid, and inspires confidence. It's also nicely executed, as you can see the high polish on the flanks and the satin finish on the tops. Now, moving down to the clasp, you can see it's beautifully made, twin trigger and double deployant. This is far lower in profile than, for instance, a Rolex Oyster clasp, with the advantage of being less susceptible to desk diving damage. Also, with the twin trigger release, this one's very secure when closed. Even the mechanism itself is a thing of beauty. The finish throughout, inside and outside this clasp, is exemplary. It's what you would expect from the name Blancpain in the modern age. Now, you'll note the case is all of high polish, but whereas the modern 5015 is perhaps a bit polarizing in its use of a huge, bright polished case, this watch is more palatable for those with reserved tastes who seek discretion. It's more suitable for use with a tuxedo, for example. There are those who say you never go black tie with a watch, but I'm going to say if you are going to wear a dive watch with a tuxedo, wear this one. 40 millimeters is so much more appropriate for genteel occasions. You'll also note there's no lack of detailing and substance. The relieved bezel is easy to read, a pleasure to use, very smooth. It has enough of a detent that it's not going to move by itself and you feel like you're getting a satisfying amount of resistance. But I will say there's a little bit of a creaminess to it that you don't get in something like a Rolex Submariner or an Omega Seamaster Professional, and I interpret that as a deliberate Blancpain move to make it feel more refined. And this is something that continues into the modern era of the 5015. Eyes closed, you know it's not a conventional dive watch. But you can see it has an upscale dial, all applied indices and numerals, hands at center in broadsword style. They are all white gold with super luminova. There's a very discreet, almost invisible date window at 4:30. It does feature a quick set, 300 meters water resistance. This is a hale and hearty sports watch for whatever may come your way. Boardroom or boardwalk, bathing suit or business suit. Inside is a Blancpain 1151. It's made by Frederic Piguet, beautifully finished. You can't see it, but it is nicely executed in terms of specification and fine finish of bridges, of screws, of plates, and wheels. And what it gives you with twin mainspring barrel capacity is 100 hours of power reserve, as well as that quick set. It does not hack. It's a bit of a high horology movement in the traditional sense of being very thin, very very beautifully made and with an exceptional power reserve. This watch is ideal if you do, for instance, have a collection of timepieces. Maybe you throw on that 43mm bathyscaphe reference 5000 or the 45mm reference 5015 for the weekend. Put this one down on Friday, and when the time comes to return to the office, don't ditch your dive watch, just scale down. This is a fantastic watch to complement a collection of Blancpain 50 Fathoms, a collection of canonical dive watches for the man who must have one of each of the classics, or if you simply enjoy quality. This watch will satisfy on every count. See it and own it on our website.